in public, having said, and I quote you, "I don't ever dream of engaging with Ruto." Mimi niongee na Ruto? Niongee na Ruto nini? I want to put it to you that if this committee nominates you and the National Assembly approves you, you'll be sitting in a cabinet where His Excellency the President will be chairing. I would like to know whether mutaongea nini kwa hiyo cabinet. But that's beside the point. I want to get to the real issues. But that's also a very valid question, because it will be important to know how you will engage as the minister, if approved, cabinet secretary, and with His Excellency the President. Now, there is tax exemption on exploration and accumulation of exploration expenses for offset against income upon full commercialization. What I would like to know is, do you think exemption should be tied to certain activities and for certain duration of time? There are people who are exploring in this country in perpetuity for 30, 40 years, just so that there is tax exempt. And I suspect they've actually explored, and they've gotten the gemstones or whatever they're exploring, but because of the exempt, they continue to say they're exploring. To my last question, the Mining Act prohibits civil servants from dealing with minerals. According to Article 81 of the Mining Act, no person, whether civil or military, and serving in government is allowed to directly or indirectly acquire or hold any right or interest under any prospecting right. Despite this provision, high-ranking government officials, public officers, state officers, and civil servants are involved in mining. And I'm sure some of them have started looking for you since you were nominated. What mechanisms and plans will you put in place to ensure that revenues from gemstone mining do not end up in the pockets of cartels without disclosure? Actually, I thought cartels are only in agriculture, health. I've come to realize during this appointments committee, cartels are everywhere, including mining. And how do you intend to protect and shield communities from unscrupulous miners and cartels?
Nelson Koech.
Mine also was a quick one too, on the same gemstone. Late last year, the president had this launched, it's called a Voi Gemstone Value Addition Center. It is ill-equipped, nominee. I don't know what you will do to make sure that there is value for money, and the small-scale miners are also able to be, are able to sell their mines in Voi Additional Center, Gemstone Additional Center. Number two is the mining law sets up several mechanisms which Kenyans can enjoy direct benefits from minerals. That is, for every sale of mineral, proportion of value of mineral is paid to the government as royalty, which is shared between national and county government and mining communities in the ratio of 70, 20 to 10, respectively. How then will you do differently to ensure the same is adhered to mining communities and county benefits?
Nominee.
Honorable Naisula, you talked about exploration, but my research tells me, and I'm yet to get a detailed brief from the ministry, that you're imagining there are people doing exploration for 30 years. There are people doing prospecting for 40 years. How that makes sense, I have no idea. Whether it happens anywhere in the world, certainly it cannot be. How do you prospect for 40 years? So we need to quickly relook into our policy, Mr. Speaker. We can't as a country. And this explains why mining GDP's contribution is under 1%. It can't continue like this. It can't continue. And Honorable Naisula, you are very right. If you thought you saw cartels, I've come to learn within this short period of time that I've been nominated, there are greater cartels in the mining industry. And Mr. Speaker, if you approve me, that is where I begin. remove the cartels, remove the brokers. Mining industry in Kenya cannot be a market of speculators. Mr. Speaker, I've also learned that before someone hits the ground, you'll find instances where a company has exchanged hands more than 10 times. Someone has gone, applied for a license, given a license, sold it to the Speaker, then sold it to Naisula, then sold it to Owen, then sold it to some farm in Canada, that one sells to China. All that time that they're speculating and gaining profits, the Kenyan people are losing. They are losing. It's only that I am, and this is a task I'm going to take, because it looks like Kenyan population really do not have an idea of what geological minerals may be in the country. They must get involved, and I'll take it upon me to ensure they get involved. So I identify completely with your sentiments, Honorable Naisula, and this is an urgent matter that must be discussed and be realigned in a manner that works and defeats those cartels. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Naisula told me nitaongea na.
You don't have to answer that. Only fools don't change their mind.
I was going to say it in Kiswahili.
Go on and answer the other question.
Wapumbavu tu ndo wabadilishe mawazo.
There's a question on communities.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Yes.
Number one, I've already picked an issue on, for example,